Tune in every Tuesday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison. Pastor Ellison has the privilege of interviewing leaders in Newnan who are making a kingdom impact, modeling for our community that faith does indeed work. So don't miss an episode of Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison, Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., only on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key.
Hey, I'm Jimmy Ellison. I'm the pastor here at Newnan City Church. I want to thank you. You'll find as you walk through that we focus on three areas primarily. One is worship, small groups, and local missions. And our purpose is transforming lives for Jesus' sake, helping individuals experience that transformation. And we use these three areas, worship, small groups, and local missions, to help individuals experience that. So you'll get a sense of who Newnan City Church is, and I hope that you'll come and worship with us soon. Take care, and God bless.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of this radio station, its management, or its sponsors. Listeners are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusions.
It's now time for Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison from Newnan City Church.
Good morning, Newnan. This is Jimmy Ellison, and you are listening to Faith Works, where each week we have conversations with leaders here in Coweta County who are demonstrating that faith does indeed work. And it is so good to have my good friend Jennifer Nolder on the show today. And we are live. Brian, it's good to be back in the studio with you, buddy. Yes. It's been a couple of weeks. I was in Cuba for a mission trip. We'll talk about that later, probably in the next few weeks, but it's good to be back. And Jennifer, of course, is with Bridging the Gap, one of our premier nonprofits here in Coweta County, serving the marginalized. And Jennifer, how are you doing today?
Great. Glad the weather's so beautiful.
Oh, is it not just a gorgeous day?
Absolutely.
I tell you, after Easter weekend, having Friday and Saturday were the perfect weather days for pre-Easter, pre-resurrection day.
Yes, absolutely.
And then on Sunday it's gorgeous. We want to talk today about Bridging the Gap. We want to talk a little about your summer lunch program, which has been, I think, probably one of the more successful, if you're defining successful by impact, it certainly is one of the most impactful ministries, programs you guys have over there at Bridging the Gap, isn't it?
Absolutely, and super excited to offer it again this year.
How many years have y'all done this?
So this is our second official year. Previously, we've done it here and there as we've had volunteers and as we've had the supplies, but last year we actually put a solid foundation and served for the entire summer. We're going to do that again this year.
That's great. So tell us a little about the summer program, the lunch program. What does it look like? What weeks are you offering it?
So last year in February, we got a couple of phone calls asking about summer lunch, and
These are from parents?
From schools.
Schools.
Yes, asking if we were offering summer lunch. And it really started raising some questions because we started doing research and there were no other summer lunch programs locally. So children who relied on breakfast and lunch from their schools weren't going to be getting that during the summer, and there wasn't a program that was offered that actually provided them meals while their parents or grandparents were working. So we started looking at the areas that there was a need, where the biggest needs were. And last year we started out with 2 locations. We served at Ruth Hill Elementary, and then we also served at C.J. Smith Park. We started out with the goal of 7,500 lunches because we serve all 10 weeks of summer. And at the end of the summer, we ended up serving last year 9,213 meals.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Part of the program, the beautiful thing is we're able to provide those meals. We're able to give people in the community who want to volunteer, we're able to give them a platform to do so where they're able to interact with the kids. Part of it is the children who a lot of times our program serves, they don't have a lot of adult interaction during the day because of parents working. They don't have a lot of interaction because of grandparents raising them, an ill grandparent. So we wanted to give those kids positive adult interactions, as well as positive peer-to-peer interactions. Let them interact with their peers. We had groups that would typically come in for about a week and serve for a week, and they would prepare different lessons for the kids, different activities, things, everything from, sidewalk chalk drawings to, we had some mentors that would come in and read with the kids. So we offered not only the summer lunch, but we also offered enrichment for the kids. And as we were setting up the program last year, one thing that was really cool, one of the staff members at Ruth Hill Elementary said one of the things that these children don't do, they don't get the opportunity to give back. They're taught, if you don't have a lot of money, you can't serve, you can't give back. So that's something we incorporated into our summer as well. At the different locations, they had different projects they worked on. We made posters for the fire department, things that they could hang at the fire department. Each week at each location, they had a cleanup day so they could keep their area nice and neat and beautiful. So we really incorporated a lot of different things into the short 2-hour lunch time frame.
I know that our church, Noonan City, we were at the park and took part in the summer lunch program. And boy, what a great experience to be able to interact with the kids there. I mean, we had games set up and had the chalk art going on. In addition to the meal, had all these activities going on at the same time.
Yes, it's nonstop. Definitely go home tired at the end of the day, but it's the best sort of tired ever.
That is the truth.
And the kids, you really learn, you end up building a relationship with them. One of the great things about the program, so we had some volunteers who, were just going to come the first day and ended up continuing to come the entire summer, and still to this day they mentor at the elementary school.
That's so good.
So it's about building relationships. Everything is based off of relationships. And it's a great time. One of the other things, we want to make sure that we're letting the parents know when they come in, and their children may have come to see us several times before we actually get to meet the parents. But when they come in, we're able to let them know, hey, this is what Bridging the Gap does. You have this issue, we can come in and we can sit down and get to the root cause of what that problem is. So also letting the families know what resources are available. That's a huge part of the program as well.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. So the 10 weeks, so it starts immediately after school gets out on a Friday.
Yep. Memorial Day's Monday, and we start Tuesday.
You start Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. And the first
you going to do
week,
the 2 locations this year? Or are you going to?
We actually have added 2 different locations
as well. Are you kidding me?
So we're doing
have
4 total.
Are you kidding,
yes.
Jennifer?
This year we might have set the goal a little high. We're going to serve 12,500 lunches this summer. And the first week, we're going to start on Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, which is May the 28th. We're going to get started, and we are going to have that week be Public Safety Week. So we'll have State Patrol, we'll have the police department, the fire department, all the different heroes in our community will come out and serve lunch with the kids that week.
That's outstanding. At one location or
all 4 locations. So,
man,
we have a lot of groups that have volunteered this year. We do still have some openings if there are any groups that are interested in volunteering. If you can't provide the food, don't let that hold you back. That's definitely something we could work on, but we welcome more groups. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot to organize 12,500 lunches, but we're super excited to be able to provide those to children who otherwise don't know where their meal is coming from. Our theme for this year is we don't want children to have to imagine their lunches.
That's good. That's really good. So, what is Ruth Hill? I bet their teachers their administration is so thrilled.
Yes, absolutely. They welcome the program back. They're doing some construction at the school this year, so we're going to be behind the school at a park with a pavilion. But the teachers absolutely love it. The counselors reached out to us and wanted to know, let us share this information as soon as you have it available, the exact information. And there's a lot of the summer programs that happen at Ruth Hill that will come to us for lunch to be able to feed the children, because they know once they go home, there are no meals for them for lunch. So that's something
this
they're
is
able
really
to provide.
piggybacking on the free meal plan at the school, so that the kids that would receive the free meals during the school year, of course, have the meals during the summer.
Exactly. So during the school year, those families that we typically serve at summer lunch, their food security comes from that free and reduced price breakfast and lunch. Mm-hmm. When they don't have that, their food security, they don't have it necessarily. So we serve summer lunch Monday through Friday, and on Friday we partner with Backpack Buddies so that the children also have that meal to cover them for the weekend.
Okay.
So we
how does
wanna-
that work with Backpack Buddies? I mean, I know the concept during the school year. How does it work during the summer?
Same concept during the summer. So they come in on Friday. They have their volunteers that come in during the week and pack bags.
Okay.
And they have volunteers for each location. They also serve some additional groups outside of ours. They have their volunteers deliver the lunch bags to the summer lunch locations. And during the summer, they're able to partner with some of those kids and add some of the kids that are not on their caseload now, able to add them during the school year. So it works really well.
And do they actually give them a backpack with that?
It's not a backpack. It's more a reusable, recyclable grocery bag, something like a Kroger
Yeah.
bag or one of the recyclable bags. So the
Okay.
kids go home with that, and it's filled with everything from cereal to ravioli, macaroni and cheese, juice, things like that, things that they can make themselves if they needed to.
And ideally, they bring that bag back with them.
Right.
How does that work?
They usually do a
But
pretty
they-
good job. We just
yeah.
remind them. We usually have a collection in our van, and when we run across the Backpack Buddies volunteers, we'll give those back. So
Okay.
we usually keep a pretty good stash.
That works out
They
well.
use a
then.
lot of bags during the summer.
Well, with the summer lunch program going on, I mean, I would imagine that consumes, or it's going to, especially this year with 4 locations, it's going to consume pretty much the Monday through Friday Bridging the Gap plan.
Not necessarily. We actually have interns this year. We're working on. We have a couple more openings, but we are using interns this year. So we'll have 2 interns per location. Of course, we'll always have a staff member circulating.
Nice.
But we'll have 2 interns. One intern that will stay at the location, and one intern that'll be mobile to go and pick things up as needed.
Nice.
And they'll actually go through training prior to summer lunch starting. So we'll have the interns, and then
Is this a free internship?
we don't talk about that, Jimmy.
We don't talk about it.
There will be a
That's
small
what
stipend
internship
at the end.
Ryan, when you use the word internship, Ryan, what that means is, hey, we're going to work you, but we're not going to pay you. That's what that
The
often
experience
means.
is invaluable.
Hey, I'm not arguing that. That's the same way with our interns at our filter. So that's how it works. You've given them an opportunity to have experience,
Absolutely.
which is a great thing. So you're looking. You've got. The goal is to have 8 interns.
Correct.
And you're looking for college students,
Seniors in high school.
graduated or rising.
Getting ready to graduate.
Okay.
So we are actually
So
we would
rising
love to,
seniors.
Yes, we would love to focus on dual enrolled students who know exactly kind of what they want their career path to be, so that we can help them and provide them with the experience in a field related to what they're doing.
Sure.
So we have that information on our website. That information is live, and we'll be finalizing that in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, that is exciting there to have that
Yes.
laid out. That's going to help you guys a lot. I know last summer it was crazy just with the 2 locations.
Yes, last summer was an initiation year, and this year we'll still have all of our programs. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll still offer a hot meal at the location. At the Bridge and the Gap offices, we'll still have our regular distribution. We'll still have laundry and shower and all of those items available. We wanted to add this program to implement what the need in the community was.
Yeah, I tell you. Well, it was so well received last year. I know that we had so many families that we were able to connect with when we were at the park for the week that we were there.
Absolutely, and it all goes back to relationships. You know, when you go in a grocery store and you see one of the kids and they run up
Yeah.
and, oh my goodness, this is what's happened since summertime, and are you doing the
Yeah.
program again this year? You know that's where you need to be.
That is so good. Well, what else is going on at Bridge and the Gap in addition to the summer lunch program? Or will you continue to do the Tuesday and Thursday lunch on site?
We will. So we'll have our hot meal. Miss Natalie will be in the kitchen Tuesdays and Thursdays as usual.
You have to love Natalie.
Oh, absolutely. We'll still have our laundry and shower facilities. We'll still have Craig and Jennifer available to talk to clients as they come in and assess some
Yeah.
of those needs, and possibly put some resources in place for families that need it. We'll still continue, of course, with our Saturday distribution. So everything will be the
I
same.
was about to say, y'all are not substituting anything. You're
No, not at
adding
all.
all of this for
Yes,
these
and
10 weeks.
we're continuing to grow. Last weekend was great. We did our Easter distribution, so all the kids that came got an Easter gift basket.
Nice.
And then we were able to give families a complete Easter meal with ham and with pies and with all the trimmings for an Easter meal. So we're continuing to grow, continuing to serve more people in the community. More people are learning about what we do and the fact that we're there. So we're continuing to grow. So we'll continue every single program during the summer. And right now, the trend is we're serving more people.
Well, I was talking to Craig the other day. Craig Buchanan. He is the what's his title?
Director of Operations.
That sounds so important, doesn't it? He is the Director of Operations. I was talking to Craig, and he was saying that, as you just shared, that the numbers were increasing
Right.
with the number of families that Bridging the Gap is serving now on a regular
Right.
basis.
The numbers are definitely going up. More people are learning about what we do, and there will always the trend is that there's going to be a need in the community. We recently have had a lot of fire victims that we've helped. So we have our clothing closet where we actually are scheduling appointments for people to come in and choose their clothing. Families can come in once a quarter and get 5 outfits per person. So we got our clothing closet off the ground,
Okay.
and we still have items that, people who've been burned out of their homes and things like that, we still offer items to them once they're relocated into a more permanent residence. So we've had a huge increase in the number of people we're serving. The need continues, and we continue to meet the need of those in the community. We originally just served boxes on Saturdays, and now we're doing boxes on Saturdays and on Tuesdays for families who work on Saturdays. They'll come in with proof that they were working on Saturday. We're able to still provide them
Yeah.
that box of food for about a week.
Yeah. Now, I'm sitting here thinking, Jennifer, you've been with Bridging the Gap how long?
Almost 2 years, or just over 2 years.
2 years. And you volunteered, if I remember the story, you volunteered prior to coming on board.
Right, and I worked with a nonprofit that worked with Bridging the Gap. They
Okay.
served some of the clients that we served. I worked at a nonprofit in Atlanta.
Okay.
And when we had a need, I've always lived in Noonan, but when we had a need for services or something like that for one of the clients outside of what we did, we would refer them to Bridging the Gap. And so I worked with Allison, and then we volunteered several times through church and through different ministries.
Where do y'all worship? Your family worship?
Crossroads.
Okay, well, Brother
Crossroads.
Ken.
On Saturday nights. I love going to church on Saturday
Ain't
nights.
that great? Brother Ken's been on the show before. What a great, he has served as a local pastor longer than any other pastor in Coweta County.
You hear that several times at church.
Does he say that? Is he proud of that
So,
fact?
yes, absolutely.
Well, that's a big deal. As a pastor, you stay somewhere 30 plus years.
Right.
I don't care who you are. That's pretty impressive, isn't it, Ryan?
Yes, indeed.
So you got it. Why did you get into nonprofit?
I have a daughter who was born with a genetic disorder, and she was in the hospital. My husband traveled at the time, and while he was away, I had some people from Fragile Kids that came in and just stayed with her so I could come home and get bills. We don't have a lot of local family. So they would just come and stay with her so I could come home and just take care of the absolutely essential things. And I promised at that point when she got well enough to come home that I was going to give back. She'd been at home for a couple of weeks from the hospital, and they called me and said, hey, we have a part-time position. Is this something And there was just no hesitation whatsoever. She, joking around, the executive director of that organization said, do you want some time to think about it? And I had already told her yes. And so that became my way to give back and to thank them. And immediately I knew, I have a teaching degree, but immediately knew that this is where my heart was.
Okay.
And then my goal became to live, work, and play all in the same community. So I wanted to work for a nonprofit and live and serve all in the same community. And when my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, I needed to come and work locally and be closer to home. He was receiving treatments at CTCA, and the opportunity arose with Bridging the Gap, and so here I am.
Wow, and that was 2 years ago.
Yes, and my husband's doing well.
That's so good. We have certainly prayed for him over the last several months. That's great news. So your daughter, how old is your daughter now?
She is 12.
So you got into nonprofit 12 years ago.
Yes, been there.
That is incredible. So what is it that just drives you to be in nonprofit?
I love helping others. With what I do, I'm the director of development, so there's always ongoing tasks, but at the end of the day, programs like Summer Lunch and seeing those kids and the relationships that are formed and helping families get to self-sustainability, whatever that looks like for them, is just more rewarding than anything I could ever do.
Yeah.
With Bridging the Gap, our mission is to feed, serve, and restore, and to see those families that reach that restore piece. And restore has to be on whatever it looks like for that family. So we can't define what restoration looks like for each individual family, but when that family reaches that point and you see it, there's no better feeling in the world.
That is so good. It's good stuff. Good
Absolutely.
stuff, Jennifer. So we're coming up on a hard break in the next 5 minutes, but I wanted to, before we get to that break, your involvement with Bridging the Gap, of course, your development, but you also, you're doing a lot of it seems like you're on the program side of things as well. How do you balance? Because director of development, that can be 100% writing grants, going out raising funds. That can be a full time, because y'all's budget is $1 million plus, right?
Just under that.
Just under $1 million.
that.
So right at $1 million. That's a lot of money to raise,
Right.
to generate. So how do you balance the program piece of it?
When you're working programs and you see what the needs are, it actually helps development. Because working those programs, I can go to a funder and say, hey, this is what we need and this is why. So the two really complement each other. Sometimes it can be a lot of work. But at the end of the day, when you have raised the funding for that program and you see that program take off and you're able to share that firsthand knowledge with funders, they feel that. They want to get involved. They want to be a part of that. So development and programs go hand in hand, especially in what we do.
Yeah.
So the programming, and again, last year we were more hands-on, more feet on the ground. This year we're going to turn that over to some of the interns. Of course, we'll still be there. We'll still be 100% a part of the program. But the interns will run the day-to-day portion. So I have the time to sit back and work on some more of those funding and work on some additional programs as well. As soon as we're done with summer lunch, we go into Top to Toe, which is where we provide back-to-school clothing for kids. So we've got that piece of programming. And then we go right into the Christmas season, right into the holiday season. So it's very back-to-back. But it's great to go out and work on the program and then go and sit down at my desk and go, okay, I need the funding for this in order to continue this. The programming piece, working on the programs, gives you that drive to go, okay, we've got to raise this much money.
Yes. And then sharing that story.
Absolutely.
Sharing the story of the life change and
Absolutely.
people's lives being impacted.
Right.
When you're talking 12,000 lunches, that's a
I'm tired thinking about it.
That's a lot of meals. That is a lot of sacks
Right.
with food in it this summer. And you probably, out of that 12,000, you're probably reaching, what do you think? Individually, probably 2,000?
2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah,
Based
somewhere in
on
that
last year
ballpark.
number. Yeah, 2,000 to 3,000.
That's just going to be what an impact in our community. Right here.
Absolutely.
Right in the downtown area,
Right.
really, too. The park, I don't know if the park is considered downtown, but certainly Ruth Hill.
It is in the city of Noonan.
Yeah, in the city limits there. It's just great. Great stuff.
The other beautiful thing is the volunteer side of it. So getting people who can come in, they can't necessarily come in on a Saturday. They've got things going on, or people who've got, things going on. They can't necessarily get here during the school year, but in the summertime it gives them the opportunity to volunteer and kind of see some of the things that happen in our community. So it opens their eyes up to what happens on a daily basis in our community and allows them to get involved. So there's a lot of opportunity for families to get involved, families and individuals to get involved as well.
Yeah, that is so good. So good. How many churches last year were involved?
We had 13 churches, and right now I have 16 for this year.
16.
So each and every church that committed last year has also committed this year.
Right.
And this year, with the locations doubling, there's still a need.
That's right. And we'll, of course, as always, we'll have all the information when we post this link that
Perfect.
people can find out how to volunteer. But I imagine it is as easy as calling you or sending you an email.
Yeah,
You're very good with email. I will say that, Jennifer.
They can send me an email at jennifer.nolder@btgcommunity.org.
Yeah. And we'll put that in the notes as well.
Perfect.
With that. But yeah, having churches lined up. So you are. How many churches really do you need?
Right now, we still have some openings in June. My entire July is filled, but we still have some openings in June. So we could use 4 to 5 more churches to get involved. And even if each church just took 1 week, we have several different weeks that are available. So if you have a question, or even if it's just, we can run each location with 4 to 5 volunteers. If you have more, that's great. But if you have 4 to 5 friends that just want to get together from a church small group works well.
Yeah, about to say that's really what you need. I mean, you could do 6
Right.
people, 6 to 8 folks.
Absolutely. Because it's pretty well-oiled. We have a well-oiled machine. We have a process that we use that keeps everything streamlined. It keeps it super easy and keeps things flowing. So if you have 4 to 5 friends from a small group that want to get involved, we'd love to have you. We typically sign groups up for a week, but if you can only do a couple of days, don't let that stop you. Go ahead and reach out, and we can get that covered.
Yeah, that is so good. Well, we're coming up on a hard break, Jennifer, and we are, of course, this show is called Faith Works. And so when we come back, I want to hear about your faith journey and how your faith journey impacts your day-to-day at Bridging the Gap when we come back, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, friends, you're listening to Faith Works. This is Jimmy Ellison.
You've been around long enough to know good stuff when you hear it. That's why you're here now. Classic Hits, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key.
At Newlink WOW, local matters. Local keeps our families and businesses thriving. WOW takes pride in serving the Newnan and Peachtree City communities and supporting Coweta County charities and events. For the fastest local internet, call 770-683-1931 and get up to 100 megs of speed for $29.99 a month. Lock in this price, save for the whole year. It's a great value that locals love. Be Young with Be Young Beauty Studio and Spa, 5 Jackson Street in Newnan. Be Young not only can get you the best new hairstyles around, but Be Young provides services for weddings, skincare, makeup, lashes, and more. Visit them at the web at BeYoungBeautyStudio.com or 770-683-0704. Be Young with Be Young Beauty Studio and Spa today.
Join us here live from Newnan, Georgia, as we present the Health, Happiness, and Harmony Hour every Wednesday from 10 to 11. I'm your host, Dr. Lewis Boynton. Please join us each week as we have new guests and talk about topics related to the psychological world. We're hoping that you will find interesting and helpful topics that will help you have more health, happiness, and harmony in your life. Join us every Wednesday from 10 to 11 at 99.1 WQEE Rock and Roll Radio.
The Parlor Downtown Boutique is all about health and beauty. Now offering CBD, elderberry, specializing in all natural organic products. Carrying a number of local vendors such as Dang Chicks, Country Junction Goat Soap, Lily Jane Jewelry, and more. The Parlor also gives back by offering gift cards with the perfect gift, Bridgewater Candles. Call 678-571-7076. Visit 5 LaGrange Street, Suite 1 and 2. The Parlor Downtown Boutique. It's all about health and beauty.
Tune in the second and fourth Thursday each month for Know Your Rights. I'm your host, Charles Cobble, and we will discuss your rights and have plenty of information on what those rights are. Every second and fourth Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Hey, I'm Jimmy Ellison. I'm the pastor here at Newnan City Church. I want to thank you. You'll find as you walk through that we focus on 3 areas primarily. One is worship, small groups, and local missions. And our purpose is transforming lives for Jesus' sake, helping individuals experience that transformation. And we use these 3 areas, worship, small groups, and local missions, to help individuals experience that. So you'll get a sense of who Newnan City Church is, and I hope that you'll come and worship with us soon. Take care, and God bless.
Around long enough to remember getting up to turn the channels on the TV? That's classic. Classic Hits, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key.
Welcome back to Faith Works. This is Jimmy Ellison, and we are in a conversation with Jennifer Mulder, who is the Director of Development at Bridging the Gap, and we've been talking about the summer lunch program as well as all the other great things that Bridging the Gap does for our community, for the marginalized here in Coweta. Jennifer, I want to hear a little of your faith journey. Bridging Gap is a faith-based nonprofit.
Right.
You are very the organization is very upfront about we are followers of Christ, and we do what we do because of being a follower of Christ. But I want to hear your story. I want to hear a little of your faith journey and how your faith has impacted and does impact your day-to-day at Bridging the Gap.
Oh man, so we were talking during the break. It was so cool to see. And one of the things, the organization that I worked for before was an organization that served children but was not faith-based at all. And I did the same thing there, so I did a lot of programs and development and things like that. But it was so cool to see when I came to Bridging the Gap, one of the things, people would come in and say, hey, I need this. And it would be something very random, but something very necessary for them. Things like hospital beds or certain type of wheelchairs and things like that. And I came in and I would listen to Craig over and over and over again say to somebody, well, I don't have it today, but call me in a couple of days, because when we pray about it, it always comes. And the entire 2+ years that I've been at Bridging the Gap, I've seen that over and over and over again. Just having faith that those things are going to be there. I shared a couple of stories about different grocery stores. One day we had somebody out, and I had to go to the Fresh Market in Peachtree City, one of our sponsors who provides a lot of food for our clients. And I just went in and decided on that day, because I was there, I was just going to go in and thank the manager and just tell him how much we appreciated everything they do for Bridging the Gap. And it was on a week that we were very low on meat. So we use a lot of resources through the Atlanta Community Food Bank, different stores that we pick up from, and we were just running really low on meat that week. Meaning that we were going to have to look at some other things, providing meat for families. And so when I went in and talked to him, just told him I wanted to tell him thank you. He started asking me what we do, how we use the food that we pick up, how we give it out, how many people we serve. And he said, are there ever things that you guys need on a regular basis, or things that you guys don't get? And I said, well, it just varies based on the week. This week we happened to be low on meat, and he told me to come back inside in just a few minutes. And when I did, he had an entire grocery cart full of beef for us.
Wow.
It's so cool to see. I mean, people will call and say, hey, I need a hospital bed, which is not something we typically deal with. And almost always, in just a couple of days, we have it. So we'll take down phone numbers and say, hey, we'll give you a call back, or call us in a couple of days. And those things are just always provided. When we have our staff meetings, we'll pray about things that we need. We'll pray for clients and client situations. And just having the faith that those things are going to work itself out. Last year, saying that we were going to serve 7,500 lunches. I had no idea when we sat down.
That was stepping out. I was stepping out on faith there.
Knowing that, we're such a small staff, and we already have many, many programs going on that take all of our time, saying that we were going to serve 7,500 lunches, and then just standing back and saying, God, I'm going to let you show me what you want me to do with this. You show me how we're going to do this, because I don't know. And then just at the end of the summer going, oh my gosh, this is what faith did. This is what our community did. God put this together, God orchestrated this, and this is what faith did. So this year we're doing the same thing. I'm not sure if God told us the number 12,500. We'll see at the end of the summer, but I have faith that we're going to be able to do it. And just seeing that, and just the small needs of people in the community. When we have a family that needs something so out of what we normally do, and then somebody randomly calls us with that item, or we're able to put them in touch with another resource in the community, and just watching, letting faith take it from there.
And
it's a beautiful journey.
When did you become a follower of Jesus?
When I was 12 or 13.
And did you grow up in the church?
We did. We went. My mom was sick, and she worked a lot, so we did not go regularly. We attended.
Single parent home?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay.
So she was sick a lot. We went when we could. We went as often as we could. We went a lot of times to Vacation Bible School and things like that. But when I became a teen, I started going more regularly. And my husband was a Christian. He grew up in a Christian home. They went to church every Sunday. And so I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
And just growing up, and my sister and my brother decided that they did not want to be part of the church. That's not something that they were interested in at the time, and now they are. So I love seeing that too.
That is great. That is good. And how long have you been at Crossroads?
Crossroads, let's see. My daughter is 12, so 10 years now.
Okay, so right after
10
she
years.
was born.
Yeah.
She was a little. Is she your
a little
oldest?
She is.
She's your. How
She
many
is.
do y'all have?
We have one biological daughter and 3 foster daughters.
3 foster. Yeah.
My husband is extremely outnumbered. Bless his heart.
The estrogen ocean over there.
That's it.
So when did you get involved with foster care?
My daughter and I, really quick story, we were running late for a birthday party one day. We were in the Target shopping center, and there was a little boy just walking down the middle of the road behind Target, right between Target and the dealership. And so we ended up calling the police and ended up learning that his parents had put him outside, that they were high. And the little boy, 2 and 3-year-olds, were being too loud. In that moment, I decided that I wanted those children, and I was going to do whatever it took to get those children. After that, I learned how the system worked, that, you go through the fostering classes and things like that. We found a child that we wanted to adopt. We finished all of our classes, and we ended up having a failed adoption. She ended up being moved out of state to family, which was a good situation for her.
Yeah.
That happened right around Thanksgiving, and then December 14th, DFACS called us and said, hey, we have a 1-year-old that's going to go into a group home because we don't have anywhere else for her to go. I called my husband, and my husband said, absolutely not. That's not the age range that we talked about
He said,
adopting.
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. My heart was just, God spoke directly to me, and my heart was on fire, and I just kept thinking about her going to a group home. So I called my husband about an hour later and said, how much do you love me? And he said, you're not bringing her home? I said, we'll be home in 5 minutes, and 3.5 years later, we still have her.
Wow. Wow.
So, and we've had about, in addition to her, we've had 23 kids now over the course of almost 4 years.
Really? 23?
Some have come for a very short time, and some have come for 6 to 9 months. So we have 2 siblings, and then we have 1 additional little girl. So definitely, and we would never look back. We probably, if we wouldn't have had the failed adoption, we probably never would have started fostering. But definitely the best thing that we've ever done.
That's great.
So
That
we
is
get
good.
to, and I've achieved that dream of living, working, and playing all in the same community.
Yeah. It really does make a difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, having it all together here. I love our town.
Absolutely.
I mean, having the opportunity to go and just walk downtown and enjoy just friendships and
Yes.
the downtown environment, and then worship down here. For us, work down here, worship down here, just
Right.
live here. It's just a special place there.
Absolutely.
So let's get back to bridging the gap again. What do you see as the biggest challenge moving forward for bridging the gap?
Just the continued growth.
You're talking about the continued growth of clients?
Of need.
That comes, yeah.
The various needs in the community. One of the biggest things that we face on a daily basis is clients that come in for housing. There's not a resource in Coweta County, so just the continued growth. We're a very small staff. And a lot of times the number of hours that are needed to work in order to get things done outweighs goes beyond the number of employees that we have that can do that. So just the need. I think that's the biggest thing, is the growth and the continued need. And we need people in the summertime. Donations go down. People are thinking about vacations and things like that, but we still have a need. We have even greater need during the summertime because kids are out of school. So the kids that are not close enough to walk to a summer lunch program, their families are coming to us on Saturdays. People are not thinking about, hey, let me donate so that Bridging the Gap can buy, XYZ for families to feed them. So just people to continue to give.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know of somebody in need, that's the other thing, just sharing the information about us.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing the fact that we're there. And if we don't have the answers, we don't claim to have all the answers. There are things that we can't cover, but we can work with some of our partner agencies and hopefully provide a more whole answer for families.
Yeah.
We use that food as a tool to get people in the door to look at why they need food. Why are you hungry? What is that root cause? And once we find the root cause, we can put a solution to that, or help put another agency in place that can put a solution to that, in an effort to feed, serve, and restore, to get that family back to restored through Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys do such a good job with that, and really trying to determine, okay, what's going on. It's
Right.
not just here's a handout. I mean, you really are intentional with, okay, let's figure this out.
Right.
What's going on, and that's really how, as you and I both know, that's how people get better.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how they can, and you tie in the course, the faith element in it,
Right.
and the role that the Lord plays in our restoration and our healing and moving forward. It really is a cool thing
Right.
to see how that works.
When people come in the door at Bridging the Gap, they're not just a food box. You're not just box
Yeah.
number 52. We're going to personally create that box so that you have the things that you need. And we may not have every single answer. When people come in and they're homeless, or they're looking for, a place to stay for a couple of days, that's not something we can directly serve or, directly fix. But at the end of the day, when they walk out the door, I think the number one thing that we hear is that people walk out with hope.
Yeah.
And that hope comes from Christ. So we want to make sure that at the end of the day, even if you don't have an exact plan, you have an idea of what you're going to do, but you don't have an exact plan. You don't have all the answers. You don't have a magic check that's going to take care of all the issues that you have. But at the end of the day, you have hope, and you know that we care not for any other reason, but because Christ would care.
Yeah.
We want to share that Christ-like love. And so at the end of the day, that's the number one thing that we hear is when people walk out the door, they feel hope. And that's what we always want people to say.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what we always want them to feel when they leave.
Yeah. And I think you guys knock that out of the park. I mean, I think you do such a good job.
Thank you.
Such a good job with that, dealing with so many of the same clients who because for those who don't know, Noonan City Church is next door to Bridging the Gap,
Right.
and so we're neighbors, and so we get to see a lot of the same folks who
Right.
come through and have those conversations with them. So the challenge is keeping up with the demand.
Right.
Why do you think the numbers keep growing? Have y'all discussed that? I mean,
We have some.
because the
There's-
economy quote is good. I mean,
Right.
there's that people who
Right.
want jobs can get jobs for the most part.
There's several reasons. Number one, I think part of the increased need is people are learning about what we do.
Okay.
People who sometimes have to swallow their pride and say, okay, I need help. I'm not going to be able to feed my family if I don't go. I think that's a part of it. I think that's a smaller portion of it. A lot of the clients that we serve live in hotels. And when you live in a hotel and you're paying, $250 a week or whatever that price may be, you get in this rut. You can't get out of there because you have to still pay to live there, but you're not able to save money so that you can get into a place that's going to be cheaper to live. So I think that's a lot of it. The fact that there's not a lot of options for housing.
Yeah.
The fact that once people are in these places, they're kind of locked into them. So I think that's a large part of it as well. But I think another piece of that, again, would go back to people finding out that we are there, that they don't have to not eat or not feed their
Right.
children. We see a lot of people who say, oh, I'd never heard of Bridging the Gap, or, making ourselves known as a resource has become, and, sharing more of the word about Bridging the Gap and what we do.
Wow.
So-
Well, it's hard to believe people haven't heard about you.
I agree.
I mean, you guys are
We-
everywhere.
We don't want to be the best kept secret.
No, you don't. No, you don't. And y'all, I think you do a great job of getting the word out of what you're doing. Well, what's coming down the road for anything new coming down the road? Anything you can share with us with Bridging the Gap? You guys have been looking for a CEO.
Right, we're looking for the executive director,
Yeah,
so-
that could happen down the road.
Right. We could have that happen very soon.
Yeah.
Just programs, growth. But the programs, we will have that CEO, executive director in place sometime soon.
Yeah.
We're working on that now. And then we're getting ready. I can't believe it's less than a month away from summer lunch. And then we go into top to toe. And then we go right into Christmas. So it's coming fast.
What's top to toe?
Top to Toe is a program that we use to end summer lunch. We provide back to school clothing and a shoe gift card for families that need help, that won't have back to school clothes for their kids. And doing research, that's one of the number one things that starts a child's school year off right, and really sets the tone for their school year, is them going back to school with new clothes, with a new outfit, holding their head high with confidence, that really starts their school year off on the right foot. So we are able to provide, we work with sponsors, and we're able to provide usually about $75 per child in order to get them in a complete outfit, sometimes several, and then they get a shoe gift card so they can go into a shoe store and pick their own shoes for back to school.
And so, say somebody wants to sponsor a child.
What
What does that look like?
That link will go up on our website. We can provide either the clothing information if they want to go and shop. A lot of times families like to go and shop for children that are close to their own children's ages, which is great. Or if somebody just wants to sponsor, they can donate online. They can mail a check. We're getting ready to launch a text to give campaign, so they'll be able to text in their donation. But on average, it's about $75 per child.
Yeah.
We get a lot of the referrals from Summer Lunch, from school counselors, from the hospitals, from different agencies in the community about children that won't have a back-to-school outfit, specifically won't have shoes.
And that's called
Top to Toe.
Top to Toe.
And we are getting ready. We'll add all that information to our website.
That's great. And the shoe is shoes are in addition to the $75.
Right. So they
Okay.
would get a shoe gift card.
So you pay for a shoe gift card.
Correct. And then usually about $75 for the outfit because we cover undergarments, we cover socks.
So, but clarify, it's $75 plus
Yes,
the shoes.
$75
So
plus the
it's
shoe gift card.
$125.
Right.
$125 per
Right.
kid, somewhere around that law.
Right.
That's fantastic. That's good. So you do that, and then, like I said, you got Christmas right around the corner, your
Yes.
Christmas program, and we'll, of course, have you back on, hopefully in the fall, to talk about that. But how many kids did y'all serve last year at Christmas?
For Christmas, it was over 1,600. So typically we've served 12 to 1,300, but we had an increased need, so we ended up serving, I think it was 16, 18 maybe, but just over 1,600 children for Christmas.
That is just incredible. I mean, that's a lot of children.
Yes, we ended up this year. We ended up moving our program to a bigger space because we had so many more families. But we also had increased support from the community and from churches in the community. So that was a beautiful thing.
Well, as a pastor, one of the things I love about it, Jennifer, is that you guys do all the screening. You guys do all that work.
Right.
And really, you say to the churches, okay, here's little Jimmy and his sister Beth, and you've got this is his sizes, this is his age, this is the colors he likes, his toys he likes. I mean, y'all break it down to that level, and it's really a great program.
Right. One thing that really appeals to the community, and one thing that the community seems to love, is that we work with other nonprofits. A lot of people just commonly think that, hey, because it's a nonprofit, they have competition. But we work with Salvation Army and we work with Toys for Tots, and we really go through the list to make sure that people are not applying at multiple agencies. We all want to make sure that we're being the best stewards of the resources that we have, whether it be a group or whatever that looks like. So we're able to work together and look at the list to make sure that people aren't applying at multiple agencies and trying to work the system, so to speak. So we're able to make sure that if
there's some who will work the
there
system.
are, absolutely. We have no question about that. But we're able to look at a family and say, okay, you've applied at multiple places. One organization will agree to take that family, and that opens up the other organizations to be able to serve more children. That way we make sure that all the children in the community are served, and we're not serving one family 4 times from different locations. So we all work together to make sure that becomes that we can serve as many families as possible.
Yeah, that's great. So you're talking to, I mean, we're winding down the show now, but what do you tell, you're talking to a church pastor, you're talking to a church leader, why should they get involved with Bridging the Gap and specifically the Summer Lunch Program?
It gives them an effort to serve, a platform to serve on. It gives them the ability to be out in the community and to bring Christ's love directly to a child who may not hear that in their home. It gives them the ability to provide food to a child who wouldn't have food otherwise. But I think most of all, it brings that Christ love. They're able to show Christ's love to a family. They're able to demonstrate that without, pounding them on the head with the Bible, they're actually able to be the hands and feet of Jesus. They're able to do what Jesus would have done for them. I think that's the biggest thing. And just that opportunity to get to know some of the families and to possibly invite them to their churches.
Absolutely.
To bring them into a worship.
Of course, it helps us being next to you guys, but every Sunday in our congregation, there are multiple family units that have come to us through Bridging the Gap.
Right.
Every Sunday, we have them sitting in the pews or sitting in the chairs. But,
Summer lunch becomes an ultimate time for that restoration piece.
yes.
We know that a family cannot truly be restored without Christ. So bringing that piece, they're bringing it directly to them. So they are a direct link to that restoration.
That's great. That is so good. That is so good. Well, Jennifer, it's been so good having you on the show today.
Thanks for having us. We're excited.
And you guys are, of course, in our prayers, and we are thrilled to, I know our church is thrilled to partner with you.
Absolutely.
I want to encourage you, if you are a church leader, if you are part of a small group in your church, if you have access to whomever is the decision maker in your church when it comes to getting involved in local missions, I just want to highly recommend Bridging the Gap and specifically this summer lunch program. Our church is going to be involved once again this year, and I tell you what, it was a great experience for our folks. We had a huge, right after Sunday services, we did a big packing that on that day of items. We didn't do the sandwiches, but we did all the items other than the sandwiches. We made the sandwiches fresh each day, but all the items that, non-perishable items, we packed it and had everything ready so that in the mornings that particular week, folks come in, get the sandwiches done, and then boom, we go out to the park. And what a great experience it was.
It's a great opportunity for families to serve together.
Yes,
so
all
children
ages.
are welcome, absolutely. So from 0 to 99, we welcome everybody to come in and to serve together. Summer lunch starts May the 28th. We run all the way through August the 2nd. The only day we don't serve is the 4th of July. We get started every day at 11 a.m. promptly, and we're done by 1.
Yeah, it's a well-ran machine. So Jennifer, thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for tuning in to FaithWorks. Again, this is Jimmy Ellison. I'm thrilled that you were able to be part of the show by listening in today. Take care, God bless, and we will be with you again next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Faith Works with Pastor Jimmy Ellison from Noonan City Church. Tune back in here next week for another edition of Faith Works.